You must have heard in the news that the French President Emmanuel Macron spoke to India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi over a diplomatic issue. I'll quickly tell you what the issue was. Australia was supposed to sign a submarine deal with France. I believe Australia was interested in buying 12 submarines from France worth $90 billion. But then due to some reason the deal was cancelled. Australia cancelled the deal. This deal was not something new. It was going on since 2016. It was about to be successful, but then due to some reasons, Australia cancelled at the last minute. But the story doesn't end here. Australia immediately made a new alliance with the United Kingdom and United States. This trilateral partnership is known as AUKUS. So basically now the UK and the US will deliver nuclear-powered submarine to Australia. With France, Australia was supposed to get 12 conventional powered submarines. Conventional submarines are the typical non-nuclear submarines. But now Australia is going to get nuclear-powered submarines from United States and United Kingdom. So this is the main matter. Now, why does Australia need submarines? If you remember, Australia is also part of the Quad. Quad consists of India, Australia, Japan and United States. The whole purpose of Quad is to deal with security challenges in the Indo-Pacific region. And needless to say, when we talk about Indo-Pacific region, we are directly referring to China. Because China continuously poses a serious security challenge in the Indo-Pacific region. So anyhow, the reason I pointed out Quad is because Australia also holds stake in the Indo-Pacific region. And as I've said, Quad consists of India, US, Japan and Australia. So one of the veto countries is already part of it, that is United States. So anyone would naturally believe that if at all any kind of alliance has to be formed anywhere in the world, if that alliance includes at least one of the 5 veto countries, then it is natural to believe that veto country will have an opportunity to sell weapons and military equipment. One of the reasons of forming groups and alliances is to sell arms and weapons apart from trade. After all, if you look at the P5 countries, apart from China, the remaining 4 countries have always been in the competition of selling weapons and military equipment. Even China exports arms, but they only do it to the nearby countries at a very small scale. Most of the weapons and all they create and they keep it to themselves. China tries to dominate with money power. So China is not dominant in the global arms trade. And I'm strictly comparing China with the other veto countries. When compared to other 4 veto countries, China is not dominant in the global arms trade. China believes in money power and debt trap diplomacy. Anyhow, so what I'm saying is that if at all any alliance has to be formed anywhere in the world, and if that alliance has one of the veto countries, then it is natural to believe that veto country will definitely sell weapons and military equipment to the alliance members. So France was supposed to sell 12 submarines to Australia, but Australia cancelled it and joined a trilateral security partnership with United Kingdom and United States called AUKUS. If you look at these 3 nations, UK, US and Australia, they are like-minded countries. See, Australia and America are part of Quad. Australia has strong partnership with ASEAN countries. Right now, the only country that the Americans rely more in the Asian region is India. And I have already said before also in some of my old videos, United States uses India as a counterbalance against China. And please don't think that India is not aware of it. While it may look that the United States is using India, it is not that simple. Even India is giving few things and also asking for things in return. So it is a two-way traffic. Now the creation of this new trilateral security partnership of AUKUS, on top of it, the first initiative under the partnership will make Australia acquire nuclear-powered submarine technology. This clearly tells us that US and UK are helping Australia to gain more influence in Indian Ocean, as well as the Southeast Asian region. If you look at the nuclear-powered submarine, they do not have the same limitations when compared to conventional submarines on weapon storage, speed, stealth and endurance. Nuclear-powered submarines can stay completely submerged quietly for many months, limiting the opportunities for detection by enemies. Plus, if you look at the geographical location of Australia, it is also called the three-ocean nation. If you look at it from Australia's point of view, it might seem necessary for them to have access to the most capable submarine technology available in the world. Now, one more question that may come up is why United Kingdom is involved in this. If you see, United States alone is capable of supplying the weapons and equipments. The reason UK is involved is because if you look at the relationship between Australia and UK, they have shared heritage, common values, strong people-to-people links and many other close strategic interests than trade and investments. Plus, Australia is still a constitutional monarchy with the Queen being its symbolic head. And not to forget, all these three nations' military was involved in Afghanistan for 20 years. Then you must have also heard about the Five Eyes. It is an intelligence alliance comprising of Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the United Kingdom and the United States. So basically, if you see, the West started their involvement in the Middle East, from there they went to Afghanistan, and now they are focusing on the Asian region. From certain perspective, it may seem that this all planning is being done to counter China. Of course, yes, that is an important point. But then you also have to understand that the Western countries are also interested in pushing their strategic interests in the Indo-Pacific region. And they usually do it in the name of promoting peace and stability, in other words, democracy. Now, as far as India is concerned, it is not going to matter that much to India whether Australia has nuclear-powered submarine or whether the United States wants to develop strategic interest in the Indo-Pacific region. This is where I feel India is at the sweet spot. Because if you see, more and more involvement of the West in the Indo-Pacific region is going to benefit India in countering China. And if anyone has some sense of strategic thinking or interest in geopolitics, then you will realize that India is slowly emerging as an important nation in most of the major issues in the world. You saw this Afghanistan issue when Taliban took over, United States intelligence chief, UK's MI6 chief, then Russian security head, they came to India to consult over the issue. And now because of this French-Australian submarine deal, the French President Macron is consulting Prime Minister Modi. Why do you think France contacted Modi? Because if you look at all the 5 veto countries, just leave Russia aside, US and UK is showing strong interest in Indo-Pacific region with the help of Australia and India. And now that the Australian submarine deal got cancelled, France's defense ministry says that it feels cheated and blindsided by Australia's decision. Since France is also a veto country, and when it looks at America and UK, these two are the reason why France's submarine deal with Australia got cancelled. That means France has no other option other than contacting India. If you see, Indo-French ties are also really good. France thinks maybe India could help in giving France a strategic entry into the Indo-Pacific party. I want you to take a moment and visualize this. 3 Western veto countries. One of them is unhappy with other 2. And that unhappy veto country is consulting India. That means soon India is going to make a door-breaking entry in the Big 5 club. So all the 3 veto countries, which are also referred to as the West, they are consulting India. China is on the receiving end of the heat. Russia is like that old father, carefully observing the moves. So this is where I strongly believe that India is slowly emerging as an important nation in most of the major issues in the world. India is the only oldest continuing civilization that exists in the world. Look at the Mesopotamian civilization. Look at the Persian civilization. They had Cyrus the Great, Darius the Great. Look at Egyptian civilization. They had pharaohs. Now you will only see mummies and pyramids. That's it. Look at Greek civilization, Alexander the Great, Plato, Socrates. Look at the Roman civilization, the Ottoman Empire. If you go further west to the South American continent, they had Inca civilization, Maya civilization, Aztec Empire. All gone, sab khatam ho gaye. Only India, Bharat exists. It is not only having a land territory, you also need an identity of being a nation. Without a nation, you can't create a stable state or a country. And without a territorial boundary, a nation can exist. India has faced almost 1000 years of foreign invasion, but still the Indian culture was kept alive and passed on from one generation to another. And that culture is very much visible in our foreign policy and international relations. So India is the only continuing oldest civilization, and it is also the only country that is upholding morals and ethics in international politics. India has always believed in taking slow and steady organic steps. Partly because of democracy, as you know, it's not easy to grow in democratic procedures because there will be always some group who will be unhappy. Apart from democracy, if you see, our way of living is also very slow when compared to other nations. Every civilization has its own pace and speed. If you look at the philosophies of the East and the West, you will notice that the East believes in virtue, what is ethically and morally right and wrong, whereas the West believes in utilitarian philosophy. In other words, the Western world believes in the philosophy that says, as long as something is beneficial or brings happiness to me, I will stick to it, otherwise I'll replace it. It's all about me and me. Of course, value-oriented people also exist, but I'm talking in general sense. But the Eastern world believes in virtue, morals and ethics, what is right and what is wrong, taking everyone along, believes in values and traditions. You will find this philosophy broadly running across countries like Russia, China, Japan, India. Even to some extent in the Middle East, you will find this. But India is a different country. If you carefully observe, India has always played by the rules. The only places where India has not followed the rules is when the opponent did not follow theirs. Otherwise, by and large, India has always played by the rules. India has never stabbed anyone on the back. It has always followed the idea of inclusiveness. India has also never backed away from accepting agreements. Of course, India has done tough negotiations, where many of them have failed, but if you analyze those agreements, you will find them either to be unreasonable or unfair. Even in those situations, India has always shown willingness to find a workable solution. If not anything, India has still maintained ties with those countries. So there is a difference between saying no and still maintaining ties. And please don't include troubled nations. With them, you have to be badass. And now, as I've mentioned, 4 of the veto countries are consulting with India. That is where I strongly believe India has everything that a nation needs to find her strong place in this world, without compromising on principles and being assertive, if and when required. I hope you found this video informative. Thanks for watching it.